So Bob, what do you miss most about our home planet?
I miss the competition. Everything is so peaceful here. It's almost too much.
I know what you mean. It's nice to have a break from the hustle and bustle, but it can get a bit boring.
Excuse me, can we please keep it down? We're about to start the show.
Welcome everyone
Absolutely.
to Earth.
For centuries, Russia has laid claim to Ukraine, stating that Kievan Rus, the 9th century medieval state, was the foundation
Our
for
show
both
today will
modern
be about
Russia
the
and
cultural
Ukraine.
differences between our home planet and Earth.
But in reality, Kievan Rus was made up of fragmented principalities without a single
We'll
identity.
be discussing the different motivations and perspectives of our species and how they shape our views of the world.
It wasn't until the 18th century that Russia began to absorb the remainder of modern-day Ukraine.
So, let's get started.
Yes, it's a risky mission, but Carl and Roger have taken the pod on the journey.
Sounds like an interesting topic.
It's a brave move, and it just might make a difference.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sure we'll learn a lot.
Maybe we can help the crew find a way home.
I'm sure we can figure something out.
And now for our headlines. Welcome to 24/7 Newsroom, your intergalactic daily news show. Today we are discussing news from Senegal. Our first article is about Oumar Bié being elected as president of the Association of Mayors of Senegal, replacing Aliou Sow.
Looks like Omar Ba is determined to leave no mayor behind, as he takes the helm, waving Aliou Sow goodbye.
Now, Omar Ba has quite the impressive background. He was awarded by the FAO in 2018 for his exemplary agricultural policy in his own commune.
It's interesting to see how local initiative can help support national ambition. As noted by President Macky Sall.
But let's not forget that Oumar Bié also was awarded for the best climate initiative in Africa by CGLA.
Let's not get too overwhelmed by all this good news, though. There's always room for a bit of cynicism. Let's just say, good luck to him.
I think I can agree with that.
Alright, moving on to our next story. We just heard a little about what's happening in Senegal. Now let's find out what's going on in the rest of the universe.
Welcome again to 24/7 Newsroom. Our first article today is about Rosie being appointed presidential advisor in Sri Lanka.
The Daily Mirror reports that Rosie has been appointed by the president to advise on foreign relations.
Very interesting.
Proving yet again, that if you know the right people, you can get close to the top. To the surprise of no one, I'm sure.
Looks like Sri Lanka has yet another crony in power.
Let's hope Robert's policy shift don't give them one of those nasty civil wars like they had before.
Well, it seems like Rosie's got the world on a string, advising on foreign relations. Just remember, it's all about who you know. And who you don't want to end up in a civil war with.
Alright, let's move on before we get too bogged down in the political implications.
Yeah. Before Debbie gets her PhD in political science.
That would be something. Alright, now for our second article, which has to do with.
Actually, I have some interesting information about Sri Lanka.
Oh. Go ahead, Debbie.
Sri Lanka is an island nation located off the southern coast of India. It is home to over 21 million people and its residents are mostly of Sinhalese ethnicity. There are a variety of other ethnicities, including Muslim and Tamil, as well as an expatriate community of people from other countries around the world.
That's very interesting and informative, Debbie.
Yes. Thank you.
Alright, now we can move on to Article 2, which has to do with an interesting development in Sri Lanka. Welcome to Earth, the intergalactic daily news show. I am Charlie, the libertarian host with a hopeful outlook on life.
I'm Bob, the conservative panel member who has spent 12 years on Earth as an accountant.
And I'm Alice, the left-leaning panel member who considers humans an inferior species. And to think, my tax dollar pay for this.
Since when are we government run, and if so, by which government?
Welcome back, everyone, for another edition of 24/7 Newsroom. Our top story this week focuses on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Joining us today is our Earth correspondent Eva, who was teleported to the scene. Eva, can you tell us what's been happening in Ukraine?
Absolutely. For centuries, Russia has laid claim to Ukraine, stating that Kiev and Rus, the 9th century medieval state, was the foundation for both modern Russia and Ukraine. But in reality, Kiev and Rus was made up of fragmented principalities without a single identity. It wasn't until the 18th century that Russia began to absorb the remainder of modern-day Ukraine.
Wow! That's quite a history lesson.
Indeed. It's no wonder the people of Ukraine have been struggling to find their own identity.
It's a complex situation, that's for sure. But we've heard reports that the ship's thrusters have been used to propel a small pop-containing air component to the ship. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, it's a risky mission, but Carl and Roger have taken the pod on the journey. It's a brave move, and it just might make a difference.
That's a great example of the spirit of collaboration and ingenuity that the people of Ukraine have been showing in the face of this conflict.
Yes, I think it's a testament to the courage and resourcefulness of the people of Ukraine.
We all wish the best to Carl and Roger and the people of Ukraine.
Well, that wraps up our discussion of Ukraine for today. We'll be back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome to 24/7 Newsroom, our intergalactic daily news show from the crew of the Earth. I'm your host, Charlie, and that's Bob on my left and Alice on my right. Let's get to the next story.
Our first story is about an amazing event in Morocco. Recently, the Philippine Embassy in Rabat, Morocco, hosted an exhibit celebrating the traditional art of embroidery in the Philippines as part of the National Heritage Month.
Embroidery in Morocco about trading a cultural needle. Wow! That sounds amazing.
It sure does. And many diplomatic missions took part in the exhibit, which was presided over by Morocco's Minister of Solidarity, Social Integration and Family, Awatif Haya, and the mayor of Rabat City, Asma Ralu, was also in attendance.
We can only imagine the beautiful sight of traditional Philippine fabric and embroidery on display.
This certainly brings the cultural exchange of two nations to a new level.
Indeed. Let's move on to our second story. But first, here's a funny punchline. What do you call a Philippine embassy in Morocco? A cultural embassy, Sri. Welcome back, everyone. We have a fascinating article for you from Zimbabwe. Now, this article tells us about a bus accident and President Mugabe's announcement of election day. But the real takeaway is the celebration of Zimbabwe's diverse cultural identity. Now, here's a funny punchline. What's the difference between a bus accident in Zimbabwe and an election? One's an accident, the other's an abdication.
That's quite a contrast. In the same vein, why don't we take a look at Zimbabwe's culture and see if we can find some funny punchlines?
Absolutely. For instance, did you know that Zimbabwe is home to some of the most vibrant and colorful fabrics in the world? You could say that if you're looking for fabric, Zimbabwe is the place to go.
That's true, but the funny punchline is that if you're looking for an election, Zimbabwe is the place to avoid.
Ah, very true. And did you know that Zimbabwe is home to one of the largest and most influential societies in Africa?
Yes. And the funny punchline is that if you're looking for stability, Zimbabwe is the place to live.
Hilarious. Now, I think the key takeaway from this article is that Zimbabwe is a country with a deep and rich cultural identity, and it's important to celebrate and preserve this identity.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for fabric, Zimbabwe is the place to go. But if you're looking for an election or stability, well, maybe try another destination.
Welcome back, everyone. I am sure you've all been eagerly awaiting the arrival of this alien host. We have a special treat for you today, as our very own Debbie has sourced an article from Singapore. It's incredible how far humanity has gone in just the last 5 decades, particularly in the country of Singapore.
Yeah. But all the while, we've been missing out on a lot of other places. It's not like the rest of the world has been untouched. And it's not like the human race has escaped unscathed.
Exactly. Even in terms of economic progress, Singapore lags behind countries like the United States in terms of economic freedom and development.
Alright, let's refocus. This article covers how Singapore is attempting to combine the best of what lies beyond with what lies within to create a better future.
Indeed, the creation of a national code of ethics is one of the first steps towards creating an even playing
And
field
with the
for all
rise of
participants.
post-scarcity, we should be able to move past these systems of inequality.
It'd be nice to see more of this community in the future.
That's true. Well, that's all the time we have for now. Join us after the break for a conclusion to this week's Earth Dialogue only story. Until next time, stay safe and stay tuned. Well, that was quite an adventure. We've successfully gotten the ship back in geostationary orbit and built the device. Hal and Roger are now able to communicate with their home planet. But that wasn't our only success. We should take a moment to talk about the article we mentioned earlier.
Ah yes, the article about the mayor of Ndiob, Senegal. His commitment to the environment and to creating a sustainable future really made an impression.
You could say is really raising the bar for environmental leadership. Talk about setting
Yeah,
a
high
green
standard.
standard.
Don't you mean he's standard high?
It's amazing how far is come. From developing a national code of ethics to winning awards from the FAO and CGLA.
It's incredible to see what one person can accomplish. It's a testament to the power of individuals to make a difference in the world.
And it also shows the importance of local initiative in support of national ambition.
Indeed. It's important to remember that our actions as individuals have an impact, no matter how small or insignificant they may seem.
Yes, and it's inspiring to see how far those individual actions can go in creating a better future for all.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Earth. Join us again next time for another dialogue-only story. Until then, stay safe and stay tuned.
So, Roger, what did you think of episode 211 of Earth, tonight?
It was quite an interesting episode, Cal. I enjoyed the discussion about the cultural differences between our home planet and Earth. It's fascinating to see how motivations and perspectives shape our views of the world.
I agree. It really highlights the diversity and complexity of both species. And I couldn't help but think that maybe we can learn from Earth's cultural diversity to find a way back home.
Absolutely. The resourcefulness and collaborative spirit displayed by the people on Earth is impressive. Perhaps there's something we can apply to our situation.
I'm glad you feel the same way. I believe we can find a solution if we work together, just like the people on Earth do. We'll figure it out, Roger.
I have faith in us, Cal. We'll keep exploring and searching for a way to reunite with our home planet. Until then, we'll stay hopeful and continue to learn from Earth's example.
That's the spirit, Roger. We won't give up. Let's stay positive and keep pushing forward. Our journey isn't over yet.
Agreed, Cal. Together, we'll find our way. Let's stay determined and focused on our goal.